So go ahead. So tell us.
Oh, yeah.
Marxism.
Okay, let me start with the things I don't agree with.
Okay.
I don't think that work is like inherently oppression. You know, he really thought that. It was like that labor was oppression. I don't think that. I think there's dignity in labor. And I don't think you can get self-esteem from something somebody gives you. Like, you can only get it by working for it. And so I totally don't disagree with Marx on that. I disagree that the only thing between people is power. He was sort of like, he got that from Hegel, but like that idea that like we should replace a worldview based on right versus wrong with a worldview based on who has power and who doesn't, or that anybody who employs someone is, you know, in a relationship that's oppressive. I don't believe in any of that. You know, obviously I don't believe in what he thought about religion. I think that religion's really, really important to a functioning society.
How do you mean by religion? What was his view on religion? You're saying Karl Marx here.
Let her go through it. Let her go through
he was like very anti-religion. Like
he was like a materialistic, you know, he was materialism.
Yeah, I don't believe in any of that.
Like an atheist type of deal.
And I'm very against like critical race theory, which is they took the Marxist, you know, it was really a Hegelian binary and they applied it to race and said, okay, that power binary, right, that Marx thought was like between like the bourgeoisie, the boss, and then the laborer, right, where the only thing between those two was a power imbalance and oppression. In critical race theory, they say you have white people and people of color, and it's that same thing, right? Like white people have all the power and their only relationship with people of color is oppressive. I think that's all disgusting and terrible and gross and wrong and what the worst people to ever walk planet Earth believed. So I don't believe any of that. But I would like to say that like the problem with critical race theory is the insufficiency of Marxism. Not that it's Marxist, because what I mean by that is, to me, what Marx got right, I don't know if it was true for his moment, but in our moment right now, fundamentally, the divide in America is not about politics and it's not about race, it's about class. We have a huge class divide in America that separates the college educated, you know, from the working class. Like that is the fundamental reality of American life. If you have a college degree, you will make on average $1 million more over the course of your lifetime than if you don't. You will have better health, you will live longer, and your children will be upwardly mobile. You will have access to the American dream. And if you don't, increasingly you won't. Increasingly you will die sooner, your body will break down earlier, you'll face deaths of despair. I mean, it's bad, right? And you will not have access to the American dream. Increasingly, you won't be able to buy a home. You won't be able to access that next level. So that divide, like I'm seeing that through seeing it through a class analysis, using the lens of class to understand the real struggles in America. That to me is Marxist. But the reason I say I think you would agree with me is I noticed something during COVID, which was that the people who opposed the lockdowns, they were doing it because, yes, there was the freedom thing, yes. But that wasn't the thing that motivated the emotional response on the right to these authoritarian lockdowns. What motivated the emotional response was what motivated me, which was the disgust with allowing yourself, because of your financial security, to rise so far above the people you relied on to survive. Meaning, we're going to enforce a lockdown because we can work from home.
Right.
So we're going to keep making our money and protect ourselves from the plague, but we're going to force you to go out into the plague and stock those shelves and bring those packages and bring us that food. And we're going to then tell you how to live your life. So we're going to there's going to be nothing out there for you to do except labor for us, right? Except deliver our packages, right? Mm-hmm. Nothing's going to be open for you. You're going to have to brave the plague and go out into the danger so we can protect ourselves. And then they misunderstood what was essentially their economic privilege, right, of being able to work from home as virtue. They thought they were more virtuous because they were staying home, right? So they took this thing that was a class divide where they really were in such a better situation than the people who they relied on to work and keep them alive. And then they wanted to keep that they made that distinction even bigger and bigger and bigger and kept pushing for policy to make that distinction even greater and greater and greater. And what I saw on the right was a Marxist disgust with the bourgeoisie, with these educated elites, for creating a situation that benefited them. Suddenly their houses were worth so much more, right? But then the kicker was, as soon as they had a vaccine, they were like, oh, now you have to take it or you get fired, right? Like it was so disgusting. And I think that disgust is I would call that Marxist in nature. It is a disgust with a class divide that one side is sitting there benefiting from, and then stewing in its own sort of moral virtue while oppressing other people. Like that's a Marxist analysis of COVID, and I bet you would agree with my analysis.
Did you read Karl Marx's book or Carlito Marx? Because none of that is.
Yeah.
So for
I'm about to sign up for whatever she's
is
talking
there like
about.
a
I'm
new?
in.
This is Carl's cousin or brother that we forgot about, Carlito.
You got to give her some credit though.
That's amazing.
Because the remote, the college educated remote worker lifestyle, WFH, work from anywhere, work from home. I'm living in Tulum now. I'm moving to Miami. Hey, just
but I gotta say something.
That's what she's saying is very accurate. Versus, hey, go deliver my groceries. Go to DoorDash.
I don't think that's Marxism.
That has nothing to do with Marxism.
What would you
lower Adam by 5%, please. That's not Marxism.
What would you call it?
That's not. A lot of those are libertarian philosophies that you have, where leave people alone and stop forcing shit down my let me live my life and get the hell out of my way and stop thinking you're so much more special than me because you got a degree and I don't. That's not Marxism. A part of Marx was he felt there was people that were better to be put in charge to lead others rather than, he was the one that thought most of the people were dumb. That's Marx's idea, was more from the standpoint of there is us who are more educated than you and we know what's right for you to live, and you don't believe in that. That's not your approach. So a lot of the Marxists, I've interviewed probably more communists on a YouTube channel than anybody has done on YouTube. I like talking to communists because it's a great conversation to have.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.